The Unseen Realm. Recovering the Supernatural Worldview of the Bible by Michael S. Heiser. Narrated by Gordon Greenhill. Please note that footnotes will be read, but bibliographical information will be excluded in this audiobook edition. Part 1. First Things. Chapter 1. Reading your Bible again, for the first time. We all have watershed moments in life, critical turning points where, from that moment on, nothing will ever be the same. One such moment in my own life, the catalyst behind this book, came on a Sunday morning in church while I was in graduate school. I was chatting with a friend who, like me, was working on a Ph.D. in Hebrew studies, killing a few minutes before the service started. I don't remember much of the conversation, though I'm sure it was something about Old Testament theology. But I'll never forget how it ended. My friend handed me his Hebrew Bible, open to Psalm 82. He said simply, "Here, read that. Look at it closely." The verse hit me like a bolt of lightning. God, Elohim, stands in the divine assembly. He administers judgment in the midst of the gods. Elohim. I've indicated the Hebrew wording that caught my eye and put my heart in my throat. The word Elohim occurs twice in this short verse. Other than the covenant name, Yahweh, it's the most common word in the Old Testament for God. And the first use of the word in this verse worked fine. But since I knew my Hebrew grammar, I immediately saw that the second instance needed to be translated as plural. There it was, plain as day. The God of the Old Testament was part of an assembly, a pantheon of other gods. Needless to say, I didn't hear a word of the sermon. My mind was reeling. How was it possible that I'd never seen that before? I'd read through the Bible 7 or 8 times. I'd been to seminary. I'd studied Hebrew. I'd taught for 5 years at a Bible college. What did this do to my theology? I'd always thought, and had taught my students, that any other gods referenced in the Bible were just idols. As easy and comfortable as that explanation was, it didn't make sense here. The God of Israel isn't part of a group of idols. But I couldn't picture him running around with other real gods either. This was the Bible, not Greek mythology. But there it was, in black and white. The text had me by the throat, and I couldn't shake free. I immediately set to work trying to find answers. I soon discovered that the ground I was exploring was a place where evangelicals had feared to tread. The explanations I found from evangelical scholars were disturbingly weak, mostly maintaining that the gods, Elohim, in the verse were just men, Jewish elders, or that the verse was about the Trinity. I knew neither of those could be correct. Psalm 82 states that the gods were being condemned as corrupt in their administration of the nations of the earth. The Bible nowhere teaches that God appointed a council of Jewish elders to rule over foreign nations, and God certainly wouldn't be railing against the rest of the Trinity, Jesus and the Spirit, for being corrupt. Frankly, the answers just weren't honest with the straightforward words in the text of Psalm 82. When I looked beyond the world of evangelical scholarship, I discovered that other scholars had churned out dozens of articles and books on Psalm 82 and Israelite religion. They'd left no stone unturned in ferreting out parallels between the psalm and its ideas and the literature of other civilizations of the biblical world, in some cases matching the psalm's phrases word for word. Their research brought to light other biblical passages that echoed the content of Psalm 82. I came to realize that most of what I'd been taught about the unseen world in Bible college and seminary had been filtered by English translations or derived from sources like Milton's Paradise Lost. That Sunday morning and its fallout forced a decision. My conscience wouldn't let me ignore my own Bible in order to retain the theology with which I was comfortable. Was my loyalty to the text or to Christian tradition? Did I really have to choose between the two? I wasn't sure, but I knew that what I was reading in Psalm 82, taken at face value, simply didn't fit the theological patterns I had always been taught. And yet, there had to be answers. After all, the passages I had only now noticed had been read by apostles like Paul, by Jesus himself.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?